County football is pretty special.
88 counties in 88 days. We travel to Medina County, where football fever is back this fall, right in the middle of a pandemic. Their plan to have fans in the stands. Online shopping now given a new meaning, the unique way millennials are now picking out their new homes. And it's Red Wine Day, expert advice on what to buy on a budget, depending on your taste or occasion. What's new starts now.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Happy Friday, everybody. It is finally Friday. It is birthday eve for my buddy Mike Polk, who's co-piloting today's show with me. So almost happy birthday to you, Mikey.
I'm so glad that the word got out about that. It's a personal thrill that everyone at work knows now. Thank you very much, whoever was responsible.
Well, it's not just the people here at work, but all of Northeast Ohio and far beyond, thanks to the wonderful World Wide Web. That's the good news. But you know what? The bad news is we have a lot of rain that is going on out there right now. Flash flood warning has been issued for Lorain and Cuyahoga counties, so we're going to get right to that. We have had a really nasty day today with heavy thunderstorms scattered around the area throughout the morning, and they do continue on right now across Northeast Ohio. Torrential rain has really been a very big problem across the area. So now let's get to the maps, please. And there you see where we have these thunderstorms that are marching from southwest to northeast. So all of this is coming in with more heat, more humidity. The darker the red colors, that's where the heavier the rain is. You know the drill, everybody. And then we also have scattered rain that is farther to the south and the west too. Let's get in here. We're going to track some of this for you, get a little bit closer to home. I mentioned the flash flood warning that is ongoing for Lorain and Cuyahoga counties. That does include Greater Cleveland, Strongsville, back into portions of North Olmsted, even over toward the Solon area. The heaviest rain is now moving out over the lake, so this is good news. Hopefully things are going to have a chance to catch up a little bit, but not before we haven't had quite a bit of rain. Let me pull up these rain rates. This is pretty cool because earlier today we were getting some very impressive rain rate totals out of thunderstorms. We're talking about rain rates that were upwards of 2 and 3 inches per hour, and where you see these bright colors, those are the areas where we have the highest rain rates right now. One of those high rain rate areas is over here to the east, right about where 271 and 90 come together, this juncture here out by Willoughby Hills, Waite Township and whatnot. So, well, that's not very impressive there, but we do have some rain rates that have been very impressive throughout the day today. And all in all, it does look like these scattered showers and thunderstorms will continue because off to the west, we do have more that is going to be coming in. Traffic, of course, being impacted by the heavy rain that's coming down, so be aware of some slowdowns. You can see right out there by 271 and 90. Also downtown Cleveland and the 480, 271 split. A couple of crashes on Route 8 and also 77 in downtown Akron to be aware of. And I mentioned that there is more off to the southwest that will be coming in. So where we finally have seen things draining out in Richland and Ashland counties, you've got more that's coming in. All of these thunderstorms west will continue to rake across the area. So the round that's coming through now will be one thing, then you get a break, then there's more that's going to be coming a little bit later on this evening. So certainly plenty to talk about as far as the weather forecast goes. We'll keep you updated on that as we have big weather coming up in just a few minutes.
We are the great dreams of our grandparents, great-grandparents, and all our ancestors. We stand and march for love, and we will fulfill my grandfather's dream.
And her grandfather, Martin Luther King Jr. What a little lady. She spoke to thousands of protesters in front of the Lincoln Memorial today. That is the same place her grandfather, MLK Jr., delivered his I Have a Dream speech 57 years ago today. Russ Mitchell joins us now. And Russ, MLK's son also spoke this afternoon.
Yes, in fact, that's his daughter, named after Martin Luther King's oldest child, Martin Luther King III's sister. He spoke today, including others. Also, the families of George Floyd and Jacob Blake called for change. They, along with people across the nation, had a clear message today: the quest for equality. Today's march was scheduled on the day of George Floyd's funeral back in June, but it took an even more urgent meaning today because of the police shooting of Jacob Blake in Wisconsin.
Every black person in the United States is going to stand up. We're tired.
The progress we celebrated then is imperiled yet again. And now we must march to the ballot box.
Aside from police reform, speakers called for a robust census count and mobilization of voters ahead of the election. As you can see there, most of the people there wore masks and stayed away from each other during today's speeches. Really quite a sight today in Washington. 57 years ago today, hard to believe, Martin Luther King's famous speech, the I Have a Dream speech in D.C., right there.
One of the most pivotal moments in American history, and now we have another chance to make more history, and I think it's a fantastic opportunity, certainly. Thank you, Russ.
Sure.
Well, the election season, everybody, is officially here. Both the RNC and the DNC conventions are done. President Trump accepted the nomination outside the White House last night, and he framed the election as a clear choice.
This election will decide whether we will defend the American way of life or whether we will allow a radical movement to completely dismantle and destroy it.
Well, we asked Meet the Press's Chuck Todd what's next for President Trump, how the president's speech went, and what obstacles he needs to overcome in this election. Hi, Chuck.
Well, Betsy, there's sort of two ways to answer that question. I mean, I think his biggest obstacle is simply winning back disaffected Republicans. I mean, if he just begins there, that's step one to getting to re-election. And so I think in some ways that was a part of the goal of most of this Republican convention. Ironically, the Democrats did a similar thing, I think. They were also targeting disaffected Republicans, if you would, in different ways when they had, for instance, the former governor of Ohio, John Kasich, speak on their behalf. So I think that was step one. What I will say, though, is I don't know how well he did targeting them. I don't know if he talked to them very well. And the reason I say it is this. He seemed to present a version of himself that was take it or leave it. This is who I am. I'm not going to change my style. I'm not going to change my focus. It's going to be more of what I've done in the first term. And there are people that love the president who are like, great. You know, I think the best way to sum up the president's acceptance speech last night in one line was the line he ad-libbed when he said, "We're here and they're not," pointing to the White House. That's the animating force inside the Republican Party right now, which is what they're against. They're against the elites, against the media, against the own the libs, if you will, to use a phrase that's popular on social media with conservatives. And so that animating force is what the president channeled. The slice of voter he needs to win re-election are people that aren't animated by the negative. They are people that are animated more about what are you going to do? What's the policy? How are you going to deal with the virus? And on that score, I just don't know how well he talked to those voters.
Changing directions now. We've talked weather, we've talked politics, and if the weather will behave, we're going to be talking about Friday Night Football, which is back. Mark Namick and our 88 counties and 88 days crew is in Medina County tonight to show us how high school football is returning in a pandemic. And Mark, it seems that this pandemic has disrupted virtually every single facet of our lives.
It certainly has, and I want to confirm first that it is still raining, so it is. But I am here in Medina, the county seat, home of the Bees, and football is a comfort and a constant to a lot of people in Northeast Ohio and around the state. And they're taking on a perennial powerhouse, the Mentor Cardinals, tonight. They could easily fill the stadium behind me. This holds 7,000 seats. But because of the pandemic and social distancing rules, they're going to take about 15% of that total and put people in there. But you know, the athletic director and the coach both say that it's still special to have football back. One of the state's fastest growing counties, Medina County is tucked between Akron and Cleveland, its rural and suburban landscapes pulling people from urban counties. The city of Medina, one of its main drivers, thanks to acres of new developments and a high-quality school district with top amenities, including a 7,000-seat stadium. Medina's head football coach, Larry Laird, says having football back is good for both the players and the community.
I think it's wonderful. I think it's important that we try to get these kids back to some sense of normalcy. I think the biggest thing, though, what I saw back during the summer is they needed to be around each other. I mean, it was like you could tell that they missed each other. I think it's not just our community. I think it's communities, especially all across the Midwest, especially Ohio. We're such a football-hungry state. I think it's very important that, you know, we go out and represent our community, and unfortunately, not all the community can come like they usually do. Medina, like a lot of the high schools around the area, are going to stream the game, so all those people that can't get in here can watch it, and they're going to have it on Facebook and YouTube channels, and check WKYC.com for some links to some of the schools doing it. Betsy?
Well, this is where those AV clubs in schools are going to really get their feet wet real quick. And I'm not talking about the weather either. They've got a lot of people depending on them. So certainly good luck to them. Thanks, Mark, for that report. Well, Laura Queso is going to join us now with some other big stories of the day. Happy Friday to you, Laura.
Happy Friday to you, Betsy. TJIF, right? Let's get to it. 4 people scheduled to attend or work that Republican National Convention in Charlotte earlier this week tested positive for COVID-19. That is out of 792 tested by the Mecklenburg County Health Department. Of those tests, 2 attendees and 2 workers tested positive. The health department released a statement saying the individuals were immediately issued isolation instructions and any known close contacts were notified and also issued quarantine instructions. Ohio reporting 1,296 new cases of the coronavirus just today. That's 52 more than yesterday. And you can see a steady increase in cases since the 637 reported back on August 23rd. At least 6 people have now died in the wake of Hurricane Laura. Hundreds of thousands of people are still without power today. Many homes and buildings destroyed because of it. The storm is now a tropical depression. It's hard to see that video, the pictures of people who have been horribly affected by Laura.
The hurricanes are just devastating, certainly, and the remnants of that storm continue to move east. We're going to track that and take a look at the rest of our forecast coming up in just a little bit. Thanks so much, Laura. Mike, over to you.
Well, a new warning about hand sanitizer tonight. And until this point, those warnings have been focused on what's inside the bottle. This time, it's what's on the outside. See, the FDA says hand sanitizer packaged to look like food, like in beer cans, pouches, water bottles, or alcohol bottles, could be confusing. In one case, the FDA says someone bought what they thought was a bottle of water. Turned out it was sanitizer. Experts say calls to poison control are up 70% over last year because of sanitizer ingestion. To avoid that, make sure that you put products on a high shelf, keep the sanitizer in its original container, and always keep the number for poison control on hand, preferably in your phone, is probably a good move. So I have noticed, though, when we first got back, or when this all started happening, and the sanitizer started coming out, it was in very odd containers, like at the store with like hand sanitizer written on in marker, when everyone was real panicking and just like, get it out. We don't have time to like make it look pretty. And it is probably confusing for people, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I think that at one point there was a container shortage. I mean, there's all kinds of different, facets of the manufacturing process, but certainly buyer beware. You just have to read the labels on everything that you touch, and especially
not even our sanitizer is safe right now.
I know. It's good for your hands. Not in the mouth. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's keep moving on, Mike, because we have plenty to talk about, don't we?
That's right. Long hair for guys is back, apparently. After quarantine kept many of us from getting cuts, we're letting it hang long. We'll show you some options for taming those long locks.
Oh, I really hope the mullet is part of that.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, the brand new Tribe pitcher who has a secret talent. We'll be right back.
Well, moms, whether you like it or not, long hair is in for the fellas. Like Chase Stokes from Outer Banks. Is that really somebody's name? Oh my gosh. Jason Momoa and Brad Pitt are also rocking the long hair. So if your little dude wants to get a long hairstyle this fall, here are a few styles to keep in mind, you know, from the stylists at Studio MZ, some of my favorites.
Andrew came to me, he hadn't had a haircut for almost a year. You'll see in the before shots, his hair was very flat on top and widened out towards the bottom. So when I looked at him, I just wanted to balance out his shape a lot better without eliminating too much length. So when we first began our haircut, what I did is I actually pulled down the whole entire front. And I angled it because this was all the way this long. So I went in through here and I created this really nice angle almost at the chin of his hair. And I kind of brought it around like this in order to create more shape and balance around his hair. The biggest issue was having more height in through here so that his shape was more balanced. So once I started combing it back and seeing that it was giving me the height that I wanted, I kind of stopped with that length that I adjusted in the front. He has this nice balance and flow that works really well into the sides and shapes around his face without it being too wide or too out of control. Anybody with the wavier type of hair pattern could use extra moisture in their hair. So Moisture Mist is a really great product to spray throughout, and the hair just does so well with it. It gives it a nice sheen. But the other product that is really important is defining gel or any kind of really nice firmer gel, because what this does is it controls the hair throughout the day and it gives it a little extra fold in its wave pattern. So I went ahead and I just put about this much in the palm of my hand, emulsified it in my hands really evenly, and went right in at the scalp, because you really want to get that product right at the base where the hair gets wavy. Once you've really applied the product, it's really important to either comb it through or run your hands through and just kind of set it the way you want it. And then I was explaining to him, really with wavy hair, you want that dry down time. So it could be an hour to two if he's not using a diffuser or a blow dryer, just to get the hair to set in. And then after that, you can go in and kind of move it and tousle it. You just don't want to do it when it's really wet at all, because it tends to make the hair frizzier. Right now, a lot of the guys have grown their hair out. It's still important to maintenance it. And that way, if you have a balanced shape already in there, and you did choose to grow it, it would look a lot better as it's growing out.
This is my client, Dylan. He's just come to see me post-quarantine, and his hair was a lot longer and a lot messier than it is right now. As you can see, this top section of his hair is still quite long. I mean, it reaches his nose there. But with a little styling and some grooming products, we can get it nice and professional looking. As I cut his sides and back, if you want to look this way, nice and tight and tapered. And then we left this top long and disconnected from the rest of the haircut. But like I said, if you groom it right and use the right products, you can get it to this nice polished looking shape. What I used on Dylan was this Bar & Co Jackpot Styling Cream. I used my blow dryer and a Denman brush, which is this smoothing brush right here. And we just dry it in the direction that you want the hair to lay. For a little lift, you can come and pull it this way, give it a little lift there with your dryer, and just smooth the hair with the brush and the dryer. And then after I was done, I just used some of my Aquage finishing spray and just also spraying and pushing in the direction that I like the hair to be.
I love it. Love those longer hairstyles.
Yeah, they all look dandy. I go into, you know me, I go into Great Clips, personally, my salon, and I just say, just give me the Forrest Gump and get me out of here. But I did do the long hair thing back in the day. That's the last time that I had longer hair. If you want to just take a look at that.
The Mike Polk
yeah,
kind of mullet.
Solid, right?
That is. Do you have naturally curly hair?
Thank you.
It looks like you do.
Yeah, I don't like to brag about it. That's why I don't let it get all over the place. It just gets crazy. But
I do
anyways,
too.
I might go back to that.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, Mike. Did you see the clouds as they rolled in? I know you're hunkered down in the basement. We do appreciate your basement studio, of course. But, man, the clouds today were fantastic. As this round of thunderstorms this afternoon rolled in, check this out. This is a CSU cam, and you can literally see da-da, and then it comes in. That is a shelf cloud, everybody, and those clouds are categorized as SLCs. You may hear me talking about those from time to time. SLCs, of course, are scary-looking clouds, not necessarily the harbinger of doom, but they definitely are a demarcation that things are changing. So if you do see those, that does mean there's something that's producing cool air, and it's lifting the air ahead of it. That would be the cool air coming out of thunderstorms, known as an outflow boundary. It lifts up the warm, humid air ahead of it, and it starts rolling. So literally, if you watch it for a while, you'll start to see that rolling motion. You'll notice it is a horizontal roll. It is not a vertical spin. Completely different world when you start talking about that stuff. So just remember that. All right, let's talk about this radar picture that we have going on right now, because we have seen this line of storms that's been lifting from south to north. Why did the thunderstorms die once they got to farther east, right? This is the area that got rain this morning. Heavy rain, lots of persistent heavy rain. So this part of the atmosphere has kind of been worked over. It lost its juju, so to speak. There's still enough juju, though, that is producing some pretty heavy rain on the leading edge, and some thundery cells are coming along with that. So heads up for you folks out in Ashtabula County, eastern sections of Lake County. Meanwhile, once that initial line gets through, then it backs off to just a steady, moderate rain. We'll get a break, but look here, off to the southwest, there is another round that is coming in. So we do have periodic rain, rumbles of thunder that will be coming in, and yes, bouts of heavy rain will once again be coming into northeast Ohio as we go through the overnight hours. You can see it goes clear out into western Ohio, even more storms farther south. So this is just the beginning. We have a lot going on, and the patio forecast, not looking so hot. And you're going to want a covered patio this evening if you're going to get out and about. These scattered storms are going to be hanging out with us. There's what's left of Laura, now a tropical depression. That means the storm is really falling apart. It's losing a lot of its tropical characteristics, although it's still a warm core storm. But more importantly, we have a couple cold fronts out to the west. Even though Laura was very powerful, it's nothing compared to an atmospheric pattern change, and that pattern change is going to sweep Laura to the east. So as it's coming north, we knew it was coming to Kentucky, these cold fronts are going to sweep it out to the east, and it's going to be out of here. On the backside of it, cooler, drier air is coming in. We still have showers and thunderstorms we're expecting tomorrow. Quick look at your National Design hour-by-hour forecast keeps the thundery weather in this evening. We get a break overnight, and the more scattered storms to start the day tomorrow. But by afternoon, we should start to clear out. Universal Windows Direct forecast, Sunday looks phenomenal. Low 70s, low humidity, back toward 80 on Monday, and temperatures low 80s with isolated storms as we head through the middle part of next week. We'll be right back.
Mic check. It's Friday, August 28th, and high school football is back.
All right, folks, it's time once again to check out what's clicking in Cleveland. For that, we go to our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney. Stephanie, happy Friday. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks for asking, Mike. And so are all of our high school football fans, because everyone's clicking on that today. And it's the return of our WKYC Game of the Week. Tonight, it's the Brecksville-Broadview Heights Bees versus the Aurora Greenmen. Dave Dino DiNatale will be calling the game live from the stadium. I know we'll be hearing from him later in the show. And 3 News' Tyler Carey will join Dino for post-game coverage. That kicks off at 6:50 tonight on WKYC.com, the WKYC app, Facebook Live, and YouTube. Now, switching to the world of sports, our Dave Chudowski talked with Cleveland pitcher Tristan McKenzie about his secret talent, solving the Rubik's Cube. Listen to this.
How quickly can you do it?
Under 2 minutes, maybe a minute and a half.
When's the first time you did that?
Spring training of 2018. That's when I learned. But I always keep her close to me. I always write her initials.
That is pretty fast. They also talked about tough things Mackenzie has been through. If you look really close, you can see initials on his hat. Those are the initials of his baby cousin who his family lost during Mackenzie's senior year of high school, and that's how he keeps her close to his heart. And they talked about texting. Mackenzie's favorite emoji is the laughing emoji, but he also really likes the drunk emoji. He says it doesn't have anything to do with alcohol though, and if you get a text from him with the drunk emoji, it's probably because he's confused about whatever it is you're saying. Now, I am late to the party on this drunk emoji. Maybe I'll be getting that into the mix. My favorite is personally the smirk emoji with a little kind of like side smile. Mike, do you have a favorite emoji?
I'm a real big fan of that one that just kind of looks disappointed in you. I don't know how to do it, but it's just like judging you. I like that real judgy emoji, personally.
That sounds very effective and also like it would be terrible to receive.
Yeah, that delay made it even better. I appreciate it. Thank you, Stephanie. Well, coming up after the break, we've got some more great stuff for you, folks. It is back, baby. High school football players across Northeast Ohio are taking the field tonight. A shred of normalcy that may look very different. And what's old is new again. An Instagram trend that's caught fire during the pandemic has a certain group buying houses. Yeah. And fall lineup, when all your favorite TV shows will be back. Ahead in your pop break. Just the NBC ones, of course.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Happy Friday, everybody. Mike Polk is in for Jay today. Hi, Mike. How's things over there at Chateau Polk?
Still hunkered down. The storm has passed, and we're just hoping that we're done with it.
Right? I know everybody is, certainly. Oh, we're getting some good thunder here downtown, though. Just had a nice little boom out there. You know, I never get to sit and enjoy a thunderstorm. This is the big problem in my life. As soon as I hear thunder, I'm on the radar checking it out. And this is what's happening in downtown Cleveland right now. We don't have any severe thunderstorm warnings as of right now. We do have a flash flood warning that continues for Lorain and for Cuyahoga counties. And as we go through the rest of the evening, we're just kind of dealing with these showers and thunderstorms. They're moving from southwest to northeast. The round one was this morning, I guess, and then now we have another round that's moving through greater Cleveland areas to the east and then down toward Youngstown. And then there's a whole nother batch that is coming in off to the west. So Mansfield just getting into a heavier thunderstorm that's sneaking into the Ashland area too. There's the flash flood warning that does go for Cuyahoga and Lorain counties, technically till 11:30, but a lot of that is all dependent upon how the water flows. So let's hope it keeps moving. Certainly, we had a mess this morning on the roads, and the roads are slow going where that heavy rain is hitting right now. Well, let's go ahead and we'll get to our top talker. High school football, depending on the weather, of course, is going to feel a lot different this year. As players gear up, the uncertainty of the season is very real. Within the last 2 weeks, 10 players and coaches in a variety of sports have tested positive for COVID-19 in at least 5 schools in our area. Now, the state told districts only 15% of their stadiums can be filled with fans on game day. And our digital sports producer, Dave DiNatale, calls 3 News' game of the week each season. And tonight, he's in Aurora for the game. Dino, tell us what's new at that field this year.
Betsy, here's the scene from Veterans Stadium in Aurora as tonight the Green Men are going to play host to the Brecksville Broadview Heights Bees. With about 90 minutes or so away from kickoff, you can see it doesn't look like there's going to be a game here tonight, but of course there will be. You know, you don't see tailgating and all those usual signs of a game that we would see. But we're going to play football tonight here in Aurora, one way or the other, later on this evening, as you can see the markings and everything laid out here for tonight.
All right, I'm texting our news director right now to get Dave a new phone so he can file those reports a little bit clearer for us. But you can see that stadium is certainly empty. Folks still want to cheer on their team, however, and our digital anchor Stephanie Haney is here now with us. And Stephanie, how are people getting creative to continue to cheer on their favorite high school sports teams?
Well, Betsy, you're right. If there's one thing we're doing this year, it's getting creative. And you're right, that does include showing that school spirit and supporting our high school teams, even though we can't necessarily be in the stands. Now, if you live close to the high school, like Larry Klein, you have the option of cheering on the Sandusky Blue Streaks, who he's cheering on, by listening on the radio. And if that fails for some reason, he can also hear the in-stadium announcer from his front porch. That's pretty nice. Now, out in Eastlake, Kay says her high school football team's fans are having a parade in the parking lot for the teams playing. Of course, she's talking about a car parade with lots of honking horns. I'm sure all of the players will be very excited about that, and the band and the cheerleaders and everyone involved. And at Perry High School in Stark County, my alma mater, go Panthers, they are streaming tonight's game against the Lake Blue Streaks live. My good friend and coach Zach Slates told me the Perry broadcasting class is handling the live stream. Here's what's pretty cool about this. They will have the game clock and the play clock synced up with that stream, Betsy. So no matter where you are, when you're cheering on the home team or the away team, you'll be able to do that from the comfort of your home. I think it's cool they were able to figure out how to do that.
It's almost like television coming right at you on the high school level, certainly. And like I said, the good old AV club in high school and in middle school is going to be getting a workout. This is a real life training for them. Thanks, Stephanie. Go teams. All across Northeast Ohio. Well, Laura Queso is back with us now, and the other big stories that are making news at this hour. Laura?
There are a few. First, the felony charge against Jacob Blake has been dropped. His attorney told Wisconsin reporters he is also no longer handcuffed to his hospital bed, and deputies are no longer guarding his room. Blake was shot in the back last Sunday by a police officer. His family says he's paralyzed from the waist down. The shooting has sparked renewed protests in Wisconsin and also across the country. Lord & Taylor, one of the country's oldest department store chains, is going out of business. The company filed for bankruptcy earlier this month. Lord & Taylor will permanently close its remaining 38 stores and also shut down its website. It's currently holding going out of business sales. The Big Ten is looking at multiple potential options for its football season. A team spokesperson confirmed the news to our sister station in Columbus. One of the options is for play to start the week of Thanksgiving. Other options that have been discussed, starting around New Year's Day or in January, but nothing official has been decided quite yet. Television partners play an important part in the process, and school presidents would have to approve any plan. So we wait, Betsy.
We wait, and interestingly enough, weather will still play a role in that because, of course, we're used to finishing up the season in the winter with the threat of snow. Now they could have snow the entire season if we play through the winter. There's no domes in college, so we'll have to see how that goes.
Exactly.
Thanks, Laura. Appreciate that.
A lot of moving parts there. I'm sure we'll figure it out. But Betsy, the pandemic started a lot of new trends, and this one is pretty out there. Millennials are using Instagram to find new old homes. The account Cheap Old Houses has more than 1 million followers. More and more remote working millennials are following the account. It lists historic fixer-uppers for as little as $10,000.
We want to be part of a story. There's so much history behind these homes. There's so much character that's involved with a lot of old homes.
This house has only cost $18,000 in West Virginia. That's the downside. But it's getting $125,000 in renovation. So obviously, you're not so much getting a $10,000 house, Betsy. Right. You are getting, it's really a $135,000 house if you want to bring it up to date. But still, 10 grand, that's not bad for a home.
And there's a lot of sweat equity that goes into that. And don't forget, sometimes you can get tax abatements when you buy those houses. So they are pretty good investments. I think at Cleveland's east side, the Huff neighborhood has some gorgeous homes in it. It just needs some TLC, and they'll be right back in the game, certainly.
A lot of good opportunities there.
Definitely. All right, now it's time for everybody out there to show us something good. And this picture came to us from Sue Klingenberg. I like that name, Sue. She's in Brunswick, and this is a rainbow after this morning's storm passed through.
That's pretty. And this story here comes from Texas. An MSNBC anchor found this little squirrel in a downed tree after the hurricane. She searched Google and found that she could give it a small amount of sports drink to re-energize it. She was going to name the squirrel Laura after the hurricane, but it turns out he's a boy, so his name is Larry. Residents in the area say they will monitor the little guy to make sure he's okay. Boy, that guy's gone through quite an ordeal. He got misgendered, he got lost, somebody gave him a Gatorade, he's fine now, living with people. What a week.
If he's anything like my children, as soon as that sugar in that Gatorade hits bottom, he's out of there, no problem.
That's a great Gatorade advertisement, too. We bring squirrels back to life. That's how powerful our energy drink is.
Good stuff.
Yeah, still ahead, folks, on Pop Break. We've got which flicks are finally coming back that you've been missing so much. I'm going to have the answer for you in Pop Break.
And, of course, we're going to get you updated on the weather forecast, the latest on the radar. Another round of stormy weather is moving into northeast Ohio right now. We also have rain chances into tomorrow. What's the rest of the weekend look like? I have the news for you. Oh my gosh, I just retweeted Jay Crawford on vacation, still sending us reports. He showed us his little rain gauge there, almost 4 inches of rain out on the east side where he is. There's a look at the radar right now. Our heaviest rain is on the leading edge of this rain that's just now coming through Geneva, right up into Ashtabula, Kingsville, Jefferson area, headed out toward Conneaut and then eventually Pennsylvania. Moderate, steady rain coming down now throughout much of greater Cleveland, over toward the Chardon area, down through northern portions of Portage County and over toward Youngstown. Then we get another little round. Look how this stuff is popping up here. There is a lot of energy in the atmosphere right now, friends. This is the juju, and you can kind of get things rolling very quickly. So more showers, more heavy rain popping right now out around the areas of southwest Summit County that's headed into the Portage Lakes area, Arlington Road area, and then eventually over toward the airport, the Akron-Canton Airport. Heavy rain coming through Columbia Station. This is going to come up into Strongsville. And then there's this whole hot mess that's coming in from Huron County down through Richland and Ashland counties. This will continue to sweep off to the northeast as well. So heads up for you in Wellington and then down through Mansfield, over to Sullivan, Nova, Polk, and then down into the Ashland area. Loudonville getting some heavy rain now. The Mohican is probably whitewater rafting at its finest right now. And then that will also continue over toward Millersburg and Charm and areas into Wayne County. So it's a very active radar that we have going on here in Northeast Ohio. Over the next few hours, generally speaking, these thunderstorms continue. We'll see it back off to just clouds as we go through the overnight, but that won't be the end of the rain. There's plenty more where that comes. As I mentioned, the juju is here, the atmospheric juju. We've got the heat, we have the humidity, we have a trigger because there's just thunderstorms that are rumbling around, and a lot of times they'll send out their own little bits of triggers, also known as outflow boundaries, that help to keep things going. Not to mention the tropical depression now, Laura, that continues to spin into Kentucky. We're really not dealing with anything to deal with Laura. Our big threat and our big weather maker is a couple of cold fronts out to the west. That's really what's going to push in here. That will be the difference maker. The problem is those cold fronts won't come through till Saturday evening and Saturday night. So it's not till Sunday that we really get relief from the heat and the humidity. Here's a look at your National Designer hour-by-hour forecast. Here comes more rain as we go through the evening. Then late tonight, I think this round of rain is going to start to settle down a little bit. Nighttime has a nice effect on the atmosphere. A little cooling goes a long way. We won't be done with the rain, though, because remember, we have the two fronts coming in. The first front comes in with showers and storms in the morning tomorrow. We'll probably get a break for a while, and then we'll have more scattered showers, maybe a few rumbles of thunder as we head through the evening. Temperatures a little cooler tomorrow. Peaks of sun possible in the afternoon, but by and large, the biggest difference will be on Sunday. Beautiful weather on Sunday, cool weather on Sunday. I think we're going to have partly cloudy skies because that cool air coming across the lake, but your Universal Windows direct forecast continues to bring more sunshine into Monday. So for partly cloudy Sunday, I think will be beautiful on Monday too. There's a look at your temperatures. You can definitely see the drop. 80 tomorrow, 70s on Sunday, and then 70s and 80s as we head through next week. Mike?
Thank you. Thanks, Betsy. It's time for your daily pop break now, and I have all the details on your favorite fall shows, when they're returning, and the new Selena Gomez project that she's been working on. Take a look. Over the past month, friends and family of Naya Rivera have spent time together grieving the untimely death of the singer and actor. Last night, Naya's close friend and Glee co-star Amber Riley took the stage on Jimmy Kimmel Live to honor Naya's life and remember her memory.
I'm ready to fly. I'm ready to see what's on the other side. I'm ready.
The singer dedicated the performance to Naya and her young son, Josie, sending our thoughts to all of Naya's loved ones during this time. Selena Gomez has finally dropped her new song with K-pop group Blackpink, and it is guaranteed to be at least #3 on the charts and #1 in the heart of your niece who's obsessed with TikTok.
Baby, you deserve the treat. Diamonds on my wrist, so we call me ice cream. You could double.
Well, we're already right about one thing. The song is shot up to #2 on iTunes charts, and there seems to be no evidence of it slowing down anytime soon. It is catchy. We can't stay calm, though, because NBC has officially given us a lineup for their fall TV shows. Despite COVID-19 shutdowns, they will be premiering new seasons of some of our favorite shows, including The Voice, Superstore, This Is Us, Law & Order SVU, and Blacklist. Sadly, if you're a fan of some of NBC's lighter shows, you're going to have to wait until the spring. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Good Girls, Making It, and Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist will all return to the Peacock Network in 2021. Isn't that great that The Voice is coming back? Aren't you excited, Betsy?
I am, actually. I love that show. My kids love that show.
So do I.
So it's a fun one.
It's fun.
All right, Mikey, I have a question for you. We've been doing this little life hacks thing. We're trying to kind of get people to send us their life hacks. So do you have any life hacks that you think work really well?
Yes, I was asked for one, and I do have one to provide. Like many Clevelanders, the house that I live in is quite old, which can present some challenges. For example, many of my windows, like this one here, will not stay up on their own because of the mechanism broke a long time ago, obviously. So here's my life hack. I found that propping the window open with one of my many regional Emmys is a great way. It's a great hack. They're sturdy, they're perfect height, and it's a great conversation starter for anyone who goes in my bathroom.
Definitely. The problem is, Mike, one Emmy means no cross ventilation.
Oh, that's true, I guess. You're right.
You'll
I guess
have to think on that one a little
That's
bit.
probably, I didn't even think about that. You're right, but still, it does help a little bit. So use your regional Emmys, people. That's what they're there for.
That's what it's for, certainly. Well, I'll tell you what, people, we love to get those life hacks, and we really hope that you will send us yours. You could do that through our WKYC app. You just click on send us some good news there, and we would love to be. There it is. Thank you. And of course, who knew you could? That's the name of it. So on the app, you just scroll down. And you'll see how to do it. All right. We knew we could get red wine out of carpet with Windex and a heavy book. How about that? Pretty slick how that works, certainly. See? Just pat. Get that first round of Windex off. This is red wine, okay? It's wine day today, so this is a really good hack for everybody to remember, just in case you get a little sloppy. Then we learned that you can reseal frozen food bags with a flat iron. Just tap, tap, tap. Don't leave it on long or else you're going to melt the bag, but just a little tap, tap, tap. Super easy, works like a charm, and avoids tater tots randomly falling into the bottom of the freezer. Perfection. Thank you guys so much for those. So the big thing is here, who knew you could? You can. That's who knew you could. I knew you could do it. You scroll down on the WKYC app to the section that says, who knew you could? It's that orange bar right at the bottom there, Sporty. Then you click on that, it'll take you to this, this little form, and that's where you fill it out.
It's just that simple.
You can put a picture or a video, and we would absolutely love to hear from you. Sporty is our camera handler today, certainly helping us out here. I'm trying to guide him. There he is. Say hi, Sporty. You're on television right now. He's not happy about that. I love it. That's perfection. All right, we mentioned red wine and how to get it out of the carpet. Well, today is Red Wine Day. How about we celebrate tonight? Our wine expert shows us the new wine trends that we should all be trying this fall.
I love how specific it is that it's Red Wine Day. And repeat after me, folks. Kids are the funniest. You know it. This little girl has one of the best pep talks you're ever going to hear.
Well, one thing that the pandemic is not slowing down, that's alcohol sales. According to CNBC, in May, wine sales were up 30% from that time last year. And today just so happens to be Red Wine Day. So we asked Brian Fife from World Wines and Menor to show us what's new in fall wine trends this season.
I'm getting asked a lot for organic wines lately. It seems to be a new direction that people want to go. I think people are concerned with their health and additives, and with the organic grapes, you get less side effects, when you're drinking the wine, and they seem to be very popular. This is a beautiful organic rosso, the Badia. It's from Pisa, Italy. It's superb taste. It's brand new to us, actually. We've carried it now for 2 weeks. I tasted it about 3 weeks ago, and I was just wowed for the value and the fact that it's organic. It's really quite nice. Another thing that's very important is value wines, and this is a beautiful value. It comes from the south of France. It's a blend of Grenache Noir, Syrah, Mourvedre. It's got a little bit of everything from the kitchen sink in it, but it's a liter bottle, so it's 33 ounces. It retails for $9.99. It's so food friendly. If you're having a mushroom pasta or anything that has mushrooms in it, the Rhone varietals just go so well with that. But it's just it's also a nice wine just to drink, as a cocktail. This is a wine called Purple Rain. This is new to us. We've had it for a couple weeks. It's 100% Concord. It appeals to your sweet wine drinkers, and the price point is $7.99. So it's a stunning value for those of us that maybe want something a little bit sweeter. You can drink this room temperature, or you could drink it chilled. If you're going to have a steak or a burger and you like sweet wines, this would be a great pairing for that.
And for those of you who like to kick it old school, I did a little research. Boone's Farm is still made, just saying. Fife told us that he's seeing a lot of his customers buying everyday wines versus the super fancy ones right now. He also said that seltzers are also extremely popular and that they're having a hard time keeping them in stock. Drink responsibly. Well, still ahead, get ready for cuteness overload. This little girl and her pep talk, just wait for it. It's worth the watch.
And welcome back, folks. Welcome back, folks. Betsy, we have another adorable child alert for you here to leave everybody on a good note. This is a fun one. This is tonight's Worth a Watch. A mom recorded her daughter, Scarlett, sharing a very powerful message.
Repeat after me.
Okay.
I'm loved.
I am loved.
I'm stronger.
I'm stronger.
And I am beautiful.
I am beautiful.
I love my curls.
I love my curls.
I'm fierce.
I am fierce.
Oh my gosh, that brings like a tear to my eye. She's so beautiful.
Can I call her to make me feel better? Sometimes she should offer a service. That kid's amazing.
She is gorgeous, and I love that, you know that that is her message that she receives, and that is her message that she gives. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. All right, Mike, thanks for hanging out with me today and for yesterday. Love having you on the ship with us, certainly. What Matters Most with Russ and Laura starts right now.
New message. We have mastered the selfie and TikTok. Now we must master ourselves. 57 years after Martin Luther King Jr.'s iconic I Have a Dream speech, his granddaughter delivers a message for a new generation to counter racial injustice and police brutality. Impact, aftermath, Hurricane Laura, a storm for the record books, and now local volunteers are on the ground helping those coping with all the destruction. Realtor reality. A local realtor attacked and nearly kidnapped. Now what agents are doing to protect themselves in the middle of a booming house market. 88 counties in 88 days.
Medina County football is pretty special.
We take you to Medina County, where high school football rules, even in the middle of a pandemic.
From the WKYC studios, this is What Matters Most.
Good evening to you. I'm Laura Queso.
And I'm Russ Mitchell. It has been quite the day in the weather department. Heavy rain and storms causing flooding in some areas, and it is not over yet. The chief is here with the first look. Betsy, we heard that big boomer a few minutes ago. It scared all of us.
Yeah, we did. We were getting a few more boomers that are popping up now. So the initial line that came through this evening, not this morning, this is around like 18 now for the day, but that initial line is now going through Ashtabula County, and it's kind of fizzling a little bit. It's working into areas that had thunderstorms earlier today. Meanwhile, we're firing up a whole new line that is coming in right now through Richland and Ashland counties, and you can see that there's a lot of lightning associated with that. Lightning is kind of the pulse of the thunderstorm. If you start to see a lot of lightning coming up very quickly, that means the thunderstorm is growing, and we're probably seeing some very good updrafts that's lofting the air high into the thunderstorm. That air can then turn around and come back down very quickly as a downburst. So I would have to put up the flags now for southern sections of Lorain County into Medina County, Wayne County, Holmes County, and then eventually Summit and Stark counties for this next line. These are some strong thunderstorms that are coming in right now. Nothing severe immediately, but I wouldn't be surprised if we end up getting some warnings on these. Let's get a little bit closer in, show you that we are in Ashland County right now. So the core of this storm, we always look for the most lightning where it's concentrated. So that's right over Ashland. This is going to continue to move up Route 42 toward the Medina area. We also have heavy rain, very vivid lightning showing up right now around the Wellington area. That's going to head up toward Brunswick and Valley City. Farther to the south then into portions of Wayne and Holmes County. Very heavy rain right now falling in Millersburg. You know, we have Killbuck Creek down here that floods very quickly, so that's something to keep an eye on. Concerns then continue over toward the Dalton area and then eventually into the Canton area as we go through the next hour and a half or so. So heads up, folks, the heavy rain is coming in. It can quickly cause flooding conditions, so be on the lookout for that. Russ?
Thank you, Betsy. Tonight, 57 years after Martin Luther King Jr.'s iconic I Have a Dream speech, thousands are in D.C. to commemorate that historic gathering.
The event began with a rally at the Lincoln Memorial and ended with a march to the MLK Memorial. Organizers had a broader message in their quest for equality, a focus today on police brutality. Martin Luther King Jr.'s son and namesake standing in his place at the Lincoln Memorial, demanding change.
The progress we celebrated then is imperiled yet again. And now we must march to the ballot box.
Dr. King's only grandchild, carrying his legacy.
We will fulfill my grandfather's dream.
A new generation watching on, some trying to keep their distance because of pandemic fears. The King family, joined by those who've lost loved ones at the hands of police. And George Floyd's sister, overcome with emotion as the crowd chanted his name. The event taking on fresh urgency after the police shooting of Jacob Blake in Wisconsin. Blake is now paralyzed. His father was here, marching.
Every black person in the United States is going to stand up. We're tired.
Also tonight here in Cleveland, that march will be commemorated with a March for Jobs and Justice that begins at 6:30 at Euclid and 28th and will end at police headquarters.
Continuing coverage tonight of the aftermath of Hurricane Laura. From Texas to the southeast, people are taking stock of the damage left behind by one of the most powerful hurricanes to ever hit the U.S. And as Tiffany Tarpley shows us, local volunteers on the ground are helping those in need.
This is outside our hotel room right now.
As the storm slowly moved in, Michelle Neiswender kept close watch. It's her first time assisting with disaster response for the American Red Cross Northern Ohio region. This past week, she's helped prepare shelter kits for families. You're looking at video from various cities in several states, but we